Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Moving Markets Podcast. It is Monday, December 22nd, 2025. And at the time I'm recording this, there is about just over 15 minutes left until the stock market will close for the day. So I'm going to take a quick peek here at where we are currently at. And I might be online to kind of take us through the close, but I don't know if I'll have a 15-minute podcast today or not. Nice gains today on all three major indexes. They're all up in the neighborhood of 0.5%. That's just almost exactly at 0.5% on the Dow, closer to 2/3% on the S&P, about 0.5% on the Nasdaq, and the Russell 2000, which we don't usually talk about. We don't do a lot with the Russell, but it's having a great day, up over a percentage, almost 1.25%. So this is just, all around good news for the stock market. And maybe an indicator that we will end the year on a nice positive note. We've had so much conversation about a Santa Claus rally. In fact, if you weren't watching our Discord channel towards the end of last week and maybe a little bit over the weekend, there were some questions and some comments about what actually constitutes a Santa Claus rally. And I've heard it described as one of our members pointed out. I've also heard it described as the last 5 trading days of December and the first 5 trading days of January. I've heard people refer to a Santa Claus rally as pretty much any bullish movement overall between between Thanksgiving and the end of the year. Some people will define a Santa Claus rally as strictly what happens in December, up to and including the trading right around Christmas. Um, I don't know that there is an exact definition of what a Santa Claus rally is, but I will tell you this. We started December, kind of flat and then had this one, really ugly week. And we ended the week strong last week, if we get bullish movement this week and we get some bullish movement next week, even if it just kind of brings us back up maybe a little bit over this strong resistance level on the S&P, I think people would still think of that as a Santa Claus rally. I still think you would hear that reference made. I mean, this line right here is December 1st. That's basically what this line right here represents, is December 1st. So if you look at where we started at December 1st, because of that really ugly week we had the second week of December, we're barely positive from there right now, assuming we end these next 13 minutes where we're at right now and don't give up all these gains today. We're barely in positive territory for the month of December. I don't know if we flattened out for the remainder of this year, for this week and next. I don't know if you could call that a Santa rally or not. If you go back to Thanksgiving, where we were right about here, you would call that a Santa Claus rally if that's the way you're defining it, is from Thanksgiving on. If you're just counting the last 5 trading days of the year, then today would be today or tomorrow would be the official start of what could be a Santa Claus rally. But either way, it's a good feeling today to, especially after last week where we had to wait until the end of the week to get a couple of days that were positive after some really ugly sell-off the end of the week before and the early part of last week. It's nice to have a good positive day, and hopefully in these next few minutes, it'll finish there. I don't think any of the indexes are at their session high. I have not been watching every tick of the market today. Yeah, definitely not on the session high, but after an initial climb up this morning, there was one big dip early in the trading session, and then it was uphill, and well, that's a bad line. It stayed close to there for the rest of the day without a big major deviation. So hopefully these last 10 minutes or so, we can continue this rally, continue to look good going into the end of the day today. There's not a lot, with one big exception, and that is the PCE report, that we had some confusion, and I take responsibility for this confusion. I thought the PCE report last week was going to be, or I thought it was going to be last week, and as it turns out, it was not. And then I thought, it was listed as the 23rd, and then it was listed as someone had it listed as today. Here on Econo Day, I still don't see PCE, but if I jump over here to financial juice, and we go to the 23rd, there's your PCE, core PCE, PCE, as well as GDP price indexes. So I assume tomorrow, um, we're going to get those numbers officially and formally, and we'll see what the numbers tell us. We'll see what we actually get in those numbers. I believe supposed to come out prior to the open of the market by about an hour. 6:30 my time, so 8:30 on the East Coast. So we'll see if those numbers do come out tomorrow morning. I expect they will. And people would have said, uh, these numbers are accurate. These are good numbers. You have to listen to these numbers. There's no reason to doubt these numbers. So, the numbers were good. So people in the media are putting them down and saying they're not trustable. If the numbers had been bad, you would have gotten something exactly the opposite. So, we'll see what the numbers say. If it's a really bad number, if it's a higher than expected number tomorrow, bye bye Santa Claus rally. I think that'll shake things and cause people to start rotating out of tech stocks again. I think a lot of people still feel like some tech stocks are overvalued and they're looking for excuses and reasons to sell out. But there's also people looking for reasons to get in. And so you've got a little bit of both that's happening. And that's just the reality of things. That's just the way things are. If they're good numbers, hello Santa Claus rally, however you want to define it, we will end this year on a really good note because between those PCE numbers and the 31st next week, December 31st, I don't know that there's any other big reports that have the likelihood of a major impact on the markets. I just think where things are going to kind of settle down, and whatever pattern we get into after tomorrow is probably the pattern that will remain through the end of the year. And I certainly hope it's a bullish pattern. All right, enough about that. I sent out a new spread trade for this week. I put together a new trade on Walmart. The September leap long calls at a 115 strike price, and the February short calls at the 120 strike price. Now, here's my reasoning behind this Walmart trade. I know we're in a couple of longer term trades right now, and I don't traditionally do a lot of long term trades. Here's what I think is happening. I think this is going to end up being within another couple days of trading. I think this little sell off here is going to be a fluke. I think Walmart is going to hold up and not give us technical crossovers at the RSI, which would be, it'd have to come right down there. The MACD, which I don't think, well, we've crossed over on the MACD, but I think that's going to reverse. I don't think the 5 and 20-day moving average are going to move over. I think Walmart is a strong company going into next year. I expect a bullish run, but not a massive, fast bullish run, which, if I'm right, it's going to play in really well to this leap calendar. And I don't want to be in it for a long time, but I'm okay if we're in it for a couple of months, 2, 3 months. I'm actually okay with that because I think we could have something like we had earlier this year with Palantir and Nvidia, and I think we could find a really, really profitable trade. If we do get these other two technical crossovers, I do think it's possible that Walmart comes down here around 104, 105 for a really strong support level. A little bit of support at 108, but I think if they cross over on all three of these technical indicators, you're probably looking at a move all the way down to 104, 105. I'm okay with that as well because if we get, I'm going to watch it every single day. And if we get those technical crossovers, I'm going to immediately add to this trade a short-term bear put spread that will profit us down to 104, offset the little bit of loss we'll have in the leap strategy, the leap calendar strategy, and then we'll ride this thing back up in a really, really good position. Maybe even take profit from a short-term bear put spread. I think I said bull put, I meant bear put spread. Even take profit from a short-term bear put spread and maybe double the number of contracts or add a contract to what we originally get. So that's the thought process behind the new trade. I sent out 3 new trades this morning for triple play, but 2 of them are incredibly unlikely to fill at this point. I mean, there's 5 minutes left to trade. Right after I tried to do the trade on Uber, the mid price jumped way up to a ridiculous level. That one's not going to fill. Lululemon, maybe it fills, maybe it doesn't, and maybe I try again tomorrow with it. But I did get filled on a long iron condor on coin. Both the Lululemon and the Uber trades were in the money bull call spreads that I just wanted to go to the end of this week or the end of next week and stay above a certain price range, which I think both of them will do. But we'll have to look tomorrow. I'll be up early in the morning. I'll be up before the market opens, and we'll see if we can't do something for tomorrow morning in the way of a new trade, assuming in these next 5 minutes the Lululemon and the Uber trade do not fill, and I don't think they will. On the collar trade front, our Palantir short calls have gone deep in the money. When I'm finished with this podcast, I am going to send out an adjustment that will roll these 180 calls out, or depending on the prices I see on it, I might sell off the most recent 100 shares we got, which are very nicely profitable. Use the money from those 100 shares to buy to close our short calls, and then reposition our puts in a new place and pay, or take in some credit with some brand new short calls. In other words, we'll kind of use the profit of these most recent 100 shares as a way to unwind the collar trade without spending money out of pocket, and then recollar the existing shares that we have. So I'm going to be looking at that and seeing what I can do with that. I think I got a little sign on there that said trying to reconnect. I hope I didn't go out for a minute. I'll check this before I put this online and make sure it looks good, make sure it looks okay. But anyway, that's where we're at with things. A little bit of work to do on collar trades. Some other adjustments. I might be ready to adjust applied digital. We're looking really good on that with the last couple of days move up. Same thing with CoreWeave, looking good on this one with the move up over the last couple of days. Our Nvidia trade, I think, is good where it's at. I think same thing with Snap and SoFi, but definitely an adjustment on the Palantir trade coming. I'm going to send that in an email separate from the one I sent out the Signal newsletter on, but look for that before the end of the day today. And for people that are new, because we did have a few new members sign up with the program last week. For people that are new that want to get into a collar trade and are looking at the stuff that we're doing, anytime we send an adjustment to an existing collar trade, if that's one you want to follow us on going forward, look at, buy whatever number of shares of stock you want to buy, and then do the correct ratio of short calls and long puts, and match it up with the options that we are opening. So when we do an adjustment, we're rolling options. We're buying to close a short call and selling to open a short call in one transaction, which is rolling that option. Or we're doing that with the long put, or like I described with Palantir right now, it'll be a little more complex than that because we'll sell some shares before we roll anything. But all you need to do to get into the collar trade moving forward is simply match what we are opening. That's all you need to do. Don't worry about what we're closing or rolling. Just match what the new open legs are going to be, and then you can basically be in and follow us with that collar trade indefinitely going forward. So today it'll be Palantir, probably before the end of the week, Applied Digital, and maybe CoreWeave as well. And as you see those adjustments, if these are collar trades you want to match up with, then like I said, just match up what we're opening. And if you have any questions on that, email me. None of my employees are working this week. I've given everyone this week and next week off, but I will be doing everything and tuned in. So I'm a one-man show this week and next week, but don't hesitate to reach out to me with an email or an instant message if you need anything. All right, there is basically 1 minute left in trading. And we're so far holding on to these gains. There might not even be a full minute left in trading. We might be down to a little less than a minute. But this looks like approximately where we're going to finish the day, around 120 on the NASDAQ, around 44 on the S&P, and around 235, 236 on the Dow. That could change a little bit in the next few seconds, but I doubt that it will. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Tomorrow, I may not do a podcast tomorrow. I'm going to be driving all day tomorrow, starting around 9 o'clock West Coast time, Pacific time. I'm going to be jumping in a car with my son-in-law and him and my daughter's dogs. We're going to be driving 10 and a half, 11 hours across the North Nevada desert back to Utah. I will not be, I will be online tomorrow morning when the markets open. And that way we can look at and do some new trades on the triple play side of things, but I will not be in front of the market pretty much the rest of the day. And I'll be getting home pretty late tomorrow night. So probably no podcast tomorrow. The only thing that could change on that is if I decide to do a podcast, a short one, before I hit the road, like between the time the market opens and the time I hit the road. I'm not going to be able to hit the road until about 9 o'clock because of my son-in-law's horrific medical residency schedule. So, but I will do a podcast for sure on Wednesday if I don't get one tomorrow. And then after Wednesday's podcast, I'll still be in touch. I'll still be online. I'll still be following things, but no more podcasts until the Monday following the New Year's weekend. So I'm not going to do any new ones after Wednesday this week and none next week. I'm spending that time with my family, but I will be paying attention to what the market is doing and possibly send some trade adjustments and new trades. All right, everybody. Hope you had a great Monday. Have a great rest of your Monday and hope you have a great day tomorrow as well. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.